It more than likely is. How are you, by the way? I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks, so it's nice to see you.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We'll
Jeff
see, we have
and
archaeologists
already
doing
down there.
investigating
Okay.
and taking samples.
Okay. Well, here's our reporter, so he's going to do a story on it. So
we also have a concrete slab right next to it, but that's not an issue.
the concrete slab
It could be just a.
may have been a gun position, may have been a gun mount.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll
We have one. I was working in Long Beach. It's a Gunner Foundation, you know.
Yeah, was that over at the Bluff Park?
The Bluff Park, I was there.
That's
you know.
3-inch gun.
It's called
That's
Bixby Bluff
Bixby
Park. I
Bluff.
was there.
Okay, well that's part of our 3-inch gun.
Oh,
gun
okay,
mount.
yeah.
That was part of Harbor
It's not
Defense's
only
LA.
one. There's probably.
That's right. There were two,
there
and then
were
there's
two.
an underground ammunition
What we
shelter.
did, they just reroute the walkway like that, and because it's historic.
Great.
They put a barricade, and it's good to go.
Great. So we found the exit. Okay, I want to, what's the best way? You're working there, it's the best way to come at it from below? Go here? Yeah. You want us to go by here, we'll go around. Okay. So Terrell, here we are at the site. You see the pool. This is where the building is going to be built.
Right.
And what happened is, because we're on this steep slope, we had to cut into the hillside to comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Right.
In the process of making the cut, we've uncovered this wooden trench system. It's very unique. It's in very good condition. When I say unique, it's unique in the big sense. On the hillside, there were, as I already showed you, one on our side of the property that has it, but we've never been able to expose one like this. Now, the saddest part about all of this is that it has to go. We have to lose the resource.
Wow.
Which, for a historic resources guy, horrible.
Right.
But the deal is that these archaeologists have documented it better than anything's ever been documented on this hillside. And so the idea is that the site at the museum grounds can actually be recreated using the information that we learn from this one. So even though we lose it, it's actually yielding a whole lot of information for us, and it's a real treasure. And what you're seeing here is, this would be where the dirt has the forms in it. That's where the wood was located. So that dirt actually wasn't there in the first place. It was hollow. That's fill that they did after the war. And that is the pattern of the trench, and it goes all the way over there, and they found another section of it this morning down here when they were excavating.
Wow.
So all of this will be documented, all of it will be photographed, all of it will be mapped. It's all being done in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, which I believe is one of the, I don't want to say it's the first time, but it's one of the first times when a major project like this has really complied with everything, both ADA and CEQA. So it's one of the greatest discoveries we've made, but it's also a big a tragedy in a sense. The other thing is that how could we possibly interpret it here, given where the pool is? So it's not really something that we feel we could interpret. The engineering alone for that ADA ramp on this hillside was a feat of engineering brilliance, and it just, unfortunately, the resource was in the way. So we're doing what is required by law to preserve it. Everybody that knows me in the community knows I want to save everything, and in this case we kind of had to compromise, and it's painful, but it is being documented, and we are going to preserve the information that we glean from it.
Awesome. Thank you.
I can show you over here too. These are the timbers that have come out of the project. So we'll hold here a timber for you.
Wow.
Now, in 1941, a guy named Bob Rose was he was drafted at Fort Harrison, Indiana. And he was one of 1,000 men that were selected to come to Fort MacArthur and augment the harbor defenses of LA right before Pearl Harbor. So he comes out and he gets to work here, and he's looking forward to doing his year's service and then getting out of the Army, and then Pearl Harbor happens. Pearl Harbor happens. the Army starts building these earthen trench works, and Bob Rose is detailed to a 36-inch circular saw that is located just outside the Trona building, which is that large rectangular building down there, kind of beige colored. And there they took U.S. Navy pier pilings and ripped them with that 36-inch saw. And so what they're doing is they're taking a round piece of wood and cutting off the edges and making a square piece of the wood, and then they split that. So you make 4x4s from this. This is what's left over, and this is what's used to form the wall of the trench.
Wow.
With this curved piece going out up against the soil.
Now, could you hold it up and show it cross-section wise so that we can see it? There we go.
So this will show you that at one time this was a Navy pier piling. And what's so funny is, it's not funny, but Bob Rose passed away, and yet here we are touching his work, you know, 70 some odd years after he actually cut the timber. So we're really, really excited. We're saving all of this material with the hopes that we can either make an interpretive or a replica tunnel system, maybe protect it inside, or maybe even use it on the one at the museum itself. But that's our goal here at any rate.
Oh, this is cool. Any other discoveries?
We did find, there were 2 shell casings. The other one I have down at the museum, but there's a shell casing. This is a .30 caliber round, and it's dated and head stamped on the bottom FA33, so Frankfurt Arsenal 1933. Curiously, this one still has a live primer. It's not hazardous, of course, but we figure a soldier must have come out here to pull the bullet off and make something with it, or what have you, because it's never been through a rifle. But that was in there, and there was a M1 carbine cartridge dated 1943 in it. So it helps a little bit with date, but not much, because all this came out of the fill that went into the tunnel when it was buried at the end of the war.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you so much, Mr. Nelson.
Is that it?
That's it.
That's all you need.
All I need.
We're done.
Oh, we're cool.